Hello, look at this. What is respiration? Many of you will define it as the process of breathing in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. No, it is not respiration. This is a type of respiration. Let me teach you what you need to know. A lot of things that will help you to answer a lot of questions. So I'm going to use the characteristics of living things. Each one I will explain very well with examples. You know, you have characteristics, Mr. Niger Dark, but I use Mr. Niger ACD. Movements, respiration, nutrition, irritability, growth, excretion, reproduction, adaptation, competition, death, the end. So I'm going to explain each of these one by one with examples. At the end of this, you are going to learn a lot and be able to answer a lot of questions. Objective questions, you'll be sure of it. Now let's go. Now let's look at this one. Movement. Movement simply means what? Change in position. They will always ask you, do plants move? The answer is what? Yes, plants move. And plants can carry out what we call tropic movement. Now, in tropic movement, this is a movement that can be a form of response to what? Stimuli. Stimuli means changes in what? Environment, maybe presence of light, presence of water, and so tropic movement can be phototropism, which means response to light. Photo, light. Hydrotropism, response to what? Water. Hydro for water. Hydrogen, hydrophilic, all these things. Now, hydrogen means water former. Hydrogen, hydrogenerator. Hydro, water. All right. Then we have geotropism, response to what? Gravity. Now, in this response, let's have these three. In this response, it makes use of what? The root and what? Shoot. Any direction. If you plant anything, that place that there is light is where the plant will grow towards. So if I want a plant to grow outside now or in this direction, I will deny this side of light and make the source of light here. The plant will just change direction and move in this direction. So hydro for the roots, and geo when you plant all these seeds, cowpea and the rest of them, they will go according to what? Gravity. So we now look at, we also have what we call nastic movement. This unidirectional movement. Example, response to temperature, humidity, and also what? Taxis movement. This one is just like movement of the body part, is directional. Maybe when you touch, there is a plant called touch me not. When you touch it, it closes. Or these insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants. Give me the insectivorous plants we have. We have a Venus flytrap. Once the fly touches the trap, it says it closes. We have pitcher plant of Nepenthes. And other ones. So when the plant touches, an insect touches them, they respond, they close in order to make use of what? The insects. Insectivorous plants are plants that do not have the ability to synthesize nitrogen for protein. So they depend on insects. You know, if they are carnivorous plants, they depend on insects for nitrogen. So we look at another one now. Look at the next one. Let's leave movement. This is just a part of it. Let's look at respiration. Respiration is not just the process of breathing in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Respiration is defined as the process by which glucose is broken down to give us what? To release what? Energy. To produce energy and now give out what? Carbon dioxide. Glucose is C6H12O6. When this glucose is broken down to produce energy, it is called what? Respiration. And for this glucose to be broken down, it requires what? Oxygen. It requires oxygen. So when this oxygen, you breathe in oxygen, this oxygen will break this glucose down. Respiration occurs in the mitochondria of the cell. The mitochondria is called the powerhouse. That is why most of the time we say mitochondria is what? Site for cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. So that is why you say mitochondria. This is where the breaking down of this thing. When oxygen breaks down glucose, it produces energy, water, and carbon dioxide. Energy is in form of adenosine triphosphate, ATP. So it produces water and CO2 as well. This carbon dioxide diffuses in, not as CO2 in the blood anyway, HCO3, it produces, it's like HCO3. The blood transports it into the heart, from the heart to the lungs, and at the alveoli of the lungs, there is gaseous exchange. At the alveoli, or some people call it alveoli, gaseous exchange occurs here. Carbon dioxide, you now breathe it out. So you breathe in oxygen, it breaks down glucose to give you energy, and in that process produces carbon dioxide, just like when you are burning something, right? So you can have carbon dioxide when you are burning something. So it produces, the oxygen burns the glucose to give us carbon dioxide, which you now breathe out. So breathing can be external breathing, external respiration rather, or internal respiration. External respiration is this one that you call what? Breathing. And in breathing, you have what we call inhalation. That is breathing in, and exhalation, breathing out. In the process of inhalation, how I wish there is enough time. I'm just rushing this, but this is just to give you key points. I'll call it key points. So in inhalation and exhalation, we have what we call the intercostal muscles are here. We have what we call the diaphragm. We are going to look at the contraction of the intercostal muscles and the relaxation of the diaphragm for you to breathe in and breathe out. So this one will contract. This one, the intercostal muscles will contract. The diaphragm will become flat. Then in the other one, the intercostal muscles will relax. The diaphragm will assume dome shape. You breathe out. Contract. Diaphragm assume flat shape. The intercostal muscles will contract. Diaphragm assume flat shape. Then you breathe out. The diaphragm assume dome shape. The intercostal muscle. So this is breathing in and breathing out. So when you breathe in and breathe out, when you breathe in, internal respiration occurs. When internal respiration, we call it internal or cellular respiration. And this cellular respiration can be aerobic or anaerobic respiration. This aerobic respiration is the one that occurs what? In the presence of oxygen. And this one is the one that occurs in the absence of what? Oxygen. So this is why we just hold it on for now. We cannot say, okay, let's go and talk about other things. Because if we say, let's break respiration down, we enter Krebs cycle, pyruvic acid formation, and other things. It will be so much for us to treat now. So this is a whole topic. But they're just touching the salient points in this. So let's look at another one. Let's clean the board and look at another one. Nutrition. It is the process. It's not feed. It's not those things. It is the process by which living things obtain, or you say get, or acquire. Don't use other terms. They will say it is process of feeding and no. It is process by which living things obtain their own what? Food in order to replace one other tissue and remain alive. Nutrition. Now, nutrition can be what? Heterotrophic or what? Autotrophic. Now, autotrophic is the kind of nutrition that is independent. This is brought about by what? Plants. They manufacture their own food. In fact, nutrition is so wide. If you talk about nutrition, you talk about nutrition in unicellular organisms and the other plants, animals. It's wide. So, autotrophic nutrition is the one that is mainly observed in what? In animals. Animals depend on plants for their own survival. You understand? So these autotrophic plants are green plants, green chlorophyllous plants. But there are some plants that do not manufacture their own food. As we mentioned, we know we are going to also look at them. Heterotrophic and autotrophic modes of nutrition. Now, you can also have what we call holozoic, holophytic, as it may appear. in this form. So now, most of you already know what to call carnivorous animals, right? Herbivorous animals, and omnivorous. Carnivorous, they eat on flesh, right? Herbivorous, herbs. Omnivorous, like humans, eat both flesh and herbs. So these are autotrophs. Heterotrophs rather. In autotrophs, there must be what? Photosynthesis. Now I want to show you tell you just briefly about photosynthesis. When plants manufacture their own food in presence of what? Sunlight. Presence of sunlight. Let me ask you this question. You know, plants give out oxygen when they are photosynthesizing. Humans breathe in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. But plants give out carbon dioxide and take what in? What? Give out oxygen. Plants give out oxygen and take in what? Carbon dioxide. Now, this oxygen and carbon dioxide this oxygen comes from, be careful, oxygen that plants give out comes from the breaking down of water molecule. Please be very careful now. Molecule. When the water molecule is broken down in process called photolysis. Breaking down of water molecule, the oxygen is released, while this carbon dioxide is used in manufacturing what? Glucose. So this is how it is. You know, plants use it to manufacture their own what? Glucose, the CO2. And when glucose is manufactured in empirical form, CH2O, by plants. So when it breaks water molecule, oxygen is released. The hydrogen goes with CO2. Hydrogen goes with CO2 to form this glucose and the rest of them. So the oxygen that is given out comes from the breaking down of water molecule, not carbon dioxide. Be very, very careful of this. So you know conditions for photosynthesis. Let me tell you, if there is a seed, if there is a leaf now, and in this leaf you have to put something like this, and here you have sodium hydroxide. Past questions. What is the purpose of having sodium hydroxide here? It is this sodium hydroxide is a chemical substance that has the ability to absorb what? Carbon dioxide. It has the ability to absorb carbon dioxide we call it the carbon dioxide in biology, but it's carbon dioxide. When this sodium hydroxide is here, it denies this leaf of carbon dioxide. So if you carry out test for starch on leaf, here you cannot. This one will not give you a positive result. But if this is not there, it will give a positive result. So sodium hydroxide will absorb carbon dioxide on leaf. When a plant has photosynthesized fully, if you test the leaf after carrying out there is a step on this. Finally, you put iodine. It turns black or blue-black. It means that the plant has been able to what? Manufacture what? Glucose, and is stored in form of what? Starch. You know, plant cells store what? Glucose in form of what? Starch. While animal cells store glucose in form of what? Glycogen. Please take note. Glucose, starch, glycogen. It is the xylem that brings water to the leaves, while the phloem cell of the leaves transports this substance away from the leaves to the other parts of the plant for it to make use of. Now, during photosynthesis, the opening and closing of stomata, closing of stomata is controlled by the guard cells, and the guard cells expand or contract by a result of what? Turgidity. We are going to learn cell and its environment. Opening and closing of stomata controlled by the guard cells. It open. It closes. So the stomata opens and closes for carbon dioxide to enter and photosynthesis to take place. All right. I think now we are also going to look at heterotrophic mode of nutrition, the the carnivorous animals, the predator-prey relationship, the commensalism, the mutualism, and other things. That is what you have under the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. I think at this point, so we have covered 3. So in our next class, we are going to cover these: irritability, growth, excretion. We are going to cover these 3. Then these ones are not much. So in our next class, we are going to cover these 3 and these 3. And at the end of it, you will be sure of being better at biology. Thank you.